Hi, Avid. Today we're going to do a lesson about prioritizing your work, and we're going to use a strategy called ABC prioritizing. You want to make sure to go and get the note catcher, the guided notes for this lesson. It's lesson 7.1, and it's a piece of paper in the mastery basket. So probably you should pause the video right now and run and go get those notes. All right. So, why do we need to prioritize our work? So, because you're in middle school, there are so many different tasks and assignments, and it gets really difficult if you don't find a way to prioritize your work. So, we need a way to manage and prioritize what to do. A lot of students can get overwhelmed, and it looks like there's 20 things to do. But if we prioritize them by time, it could probably make it a little bit easier for you. All right, so step one is to make a list of what you need to do. I prefer to make a list just on a regular old piece of paper. And so, this, for example, I just made a list of my homework assignments and then when they are due. So, you need the assignment and the due date. And if you notice, some are due real soon, tomorrow, Friday. But then I see a couple that are due next week or late missing work for sure goes on the list. So a list of all your assignments. And then at the bottom, um, list out any late or missing works. I would say do this on a piece of paper or at the bottom of your agenda in the empty space if there isn't too many assignments, but preferably a separate sheet of paper will work. And what is due according to your agenda. So if you go through your agenda, you might want to put that list together. And is there anything overdue? Is there late work? Again, we just add that to the bottom of our priority list. Are there any long-term projects or tests coming up in a few days or weeks? That's really important because we don't want to wait till the last second and then realize, oh my gosh, I had a test and I had 2 weeks to study and I waited till the last second. You want to study as soon as you can. All right, step two. Now that you have a list, you need to decide. This is you making some decisions. What are your A's, B's, and C's? An A assignment is something that needs to get done real soon, like today. They have a top priority, and then you can decide what's A1, what's A2, what's A3. A lot of times we say the A's are overdue work or assignments due soon. B's, it's good if you get those done today, but maybe you can start them tomorrow. Let's say you have a lot of A's on your list and you run out of time. It's okay to put the B's off until tomorrow. And then C's, these have a day or two, but don't forget about them. Work on them as soon as those A's and B's are out of the way. These could be like long-term assignments or studying for a test or a quiz. So what does it look like? I want to just show you this video of a teacher who does some executive functioning training with students. And they have all the same teachers, so it's a little different than what we do, but I want you to see this in action. So here we go.
Asking students to prioritize their tasks, the teacher builds that skill set in an entire classroom. In 8th grade, there's a ton of different deadlines and work to manage, so we do the ABC priority list in order to help them manage all those different deadlines.
Somebody always goes up to start a priority list. It helps us categorize everything that we need to have and organize from most important to least important.
We have the West Virginia versus Barnard case questions for social studies.
What does that do?
Today.
So it's a high priority.
We have a practice clause we need to do for science class. They tell me each assignment and when it's due or how important it is.
We have the JIS observation for science.
Oh wow, jeez. They share out all the different deadlines that are roaming around in their head, and then they know how to go through the protocol of prioritizing.
Can you help Abdi to figure out what the A1 is?
JIS observation.
I think so, because it's overdue, right? So if it's overdue, you got to get that done first. And then what would be in A2? The West Virginia first Barnard questions.
It wasn't a teacher saying you should. It was a student saying, here's what I think are the ways in which these activities should be prioritized. So in effect, what this teacher was doing was modeling and teaching executive function skills. If you're kind of over.
Okay. So as you saw, the students, they were going up to the board and making a list of their assignments, and then they were prioritizing them according to due date. Okay. So you want to think about what the A's are. Okay. A's are usually things that are due real soon or some of your late work. So on the list that I had created, I said my A number one thing I needed to get done was my reading log for language arts because it was late and it was missing. My A2 is a note that I had overdue for Avid. And my A3 is a math IXL that was late. And then my A4 then became the next thing that was due tomorrow. So my Avid TRF and my note are due tomorrow. Okay. And then I did my B's. So I have a social studies review packet due Thursday. And my B2 is a science group project due Thursday. These are due a little bit further down the road. And then my C1 is my language arts chapter 6 through 10. They're not due till Friday, so I have a little more time with those. And the social studies test is on Monday, which is next week. So really, if you're looking at your list, you're looking priority as far as what's overdue first, what's very next due, and then the B's and C's, only if you have time, if you can start tackling those, that would be great. And the last thing I want you to think about is your frog. So this is a quote by Mark Twain. And the quote is, if you wake up every morning and eat a frog, everything else will taste great. So when they're talking about the frog, they're talking about things you hate to do or that you've been putting off for a really long time. And in school, you want to eat the assignment that you hate the most because then it's done and then everything else is super easy. So what assignment is your frog? You want to think about that. Get that yucky frog out of the way and do that first. That would definitely be your A1 priority. And then that's it. That's just what I wanted to teach you about this lesson, and make sure you fill out the notes and give that to Miss Am.